Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tim. This is another Real Ideal Gear review, and today we're looking at the Tough as Nails watches. These are the watches that I wear when I want something that's just tough as nails. It's something that I don't have any worries about wearing the watch. We're going to go through a handful of Casios, a handful of mechanical watches, a few Quartz analog watches. We're going to go through quite a few watches. I got 10, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 watches to share with you. And yes, I do have a note to myself to bring to school the video where I was tased, to carry a taser as a cop. So some of the kids in my classroom wanted to see their teacher, what he looked like when he got tased. And so I'm gonna go try to find that video. So that's the note on my thumb. So some of you are kind of like, what did he write on his thumb? It says taser video. I have to go find it. They give you the taser video for a couple reasons. One, as evidence that you went through it. In case you go to another agency, you can say, yes, I've actually been tased and I know what that's like. And also it's pretty dang funny. All right, let's go on. Let's go with the G-Shocks. We're gonna start with Casios. Obviously, Casios have watches that are tough as nails. This is one of my favorites of all time, the GD350. If this was a solar watch, I think this might be the perfect beater watch that's out there. I know the 5600 watch is also a good one. The 5000 series of the G-Shocks is also a really popular one. But everything's a little bit bigger. For me, as far as buttons go, easier to access the buttons. The buttons are just, I don't know, the 5610 is just, it's like fingernails. You're using your fingernails to activate the buttons, where this one, I can press this. I love a couple of things about this watch. Number one, the instant access to the timer. So whatever I have my timer set, so this one is set at 24 minutes. So if I had a presentation or if I had something and I just wanted myself to know this, I didn't want everybody else to know, I would set up this to have the vibrate alert on, which it does. That little pie shape there and that upper circle indicator says vibrate alert. And if I hit the instant access to the timer function, I press this, okay, and you can see it's already at 23 minutes, 55 seconds and it's counting down, right? So when this thing goes off, it vibrates on my wrist. So when I was doing my professional development with Discovery Education with teachers, and I was doing a presentation that was 50 minutes long, I wanted a 5-minute Q&A at the end, I'd set this at 45 minutes. And as soon as I started my presentation, I'd hit the timer button and I'd start talking and my wrist would vibrate. Nobody would know that I was being alerted by my watch. And I knew I needed to wrap things up and get 5 minutes of Q&A in. So another great function for this watch is this instant access to this button right here for the timer. Also the vibrate alert. It's tough as nails. I mean, this is a really comfortable watch. And it's famous in the military because it just is tough. So you're going to see a lot of guys with a GD350 on the wrist, military or cops. You'll tend to see that. And I also like the negative version. This is the only negative display other than an MIP that actually fits and actually works. It does what it says it's going to do when it tells you that you can see the time, and it has that good contrast where some of these negative displays are so incredibly bad. This one is not that at all. This one actually has a very good negative display. So same thing, GD350. I wanted to get the negative display on this one. I heard they were going to stop making this, but I think they're still making the watch. I think it was like a year or two ago. I was like, oh, I guess they're going to run out of the GD350. No, that's not true. They're still out there. I've seen quite a few of them. I prefer, this is my favorite display. When you look at these two displays, you know, which one would you go with? I like the I like the positive display a little bit better. The negative display is a close second. That's how good this negative display is on here. So highly recommend the GD350. All right, another vibrate alert watch, tough as nails, is the W736, the Big Sky. And I say the Big Sky, and people say, well, why do you call it the Big Sky? Look at the numbers on here. This is a $30 watch, 30 bucks. Sometimes people get it cheaper than that. And look what it does on the GD350, which is a $90 watch. Just really, really clear. And you'll notice on this watch, I have it set up for the alarm. I have the hourly chime on. How many of you guys wear your Casios and turn off the hourly chime because you don't want that to go off while you're wearing it because of, you know, at some point during the day, you just don't want that chime to go off. You're in a quiet space with other people and it's interruptive. But with the vibrate alert on, and the W736 has the vibrate alert for alarms, timer, hourly chime, nobody else knows except you. And you know when the vibrate hits on your wrist, it's like, oh, the top of the hour. And I have gone to the point where I actually wear these watches because of that feature. That feature for me is a massive improvement. Now, tough as nails, chunkiness factor on the W736 it's high. This is a chunky watch. It sticks up off the wrist pretty high. You're going to see some other watches like the GBDH 2000 are a little bit higher off the wrist. Even the GD350, I think, is technically higher off the wrist, but the proportions, because it's a wider case, it just doesn't have the same chunkiness factor. It just doesn't look as chunky, even though the height off the wrist, I think it's slightly higher than the W736 when it comes to the height off the wrist. But tough as nails, this is 100 meters of water resistance, 10-year battery, a 10-year battery, 100 meters of water resistance, center 6 o'clock light, which I love. I love getting that light down here. It's isolated. It's not as a function. It's not another function on the watch. This is just a light function. That's it. Great, great light. It has that negative display light, so when you hit the light button, it's not super bright, but all of these numbers, they invert into the opposite. So instead of being dark, they turn white. Let me double check to make sure that's right. That's what I thought. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It turns to white. So the polarizing on here turns it over from black digits into white digits when the light is on. The light on the GD350 is awesome. Tough as nails. I love the watches. All right. Another one which people don't, there's not a lot on the internet on this watch, the GBX 100. Battery powered, MIP display, G-Shock, great looking watch, great functioning watch with one exception. I think the timer function on here is just stupid. They have these intervals, and in order to have a timer, you have to set it up so that the intervals, like the first interval works, and then the other 2 or 3 are at 0, or they're not active. I'm not even sure. I don't even use the timer much on this watch. And if I do use it, I set it up on my phone because I just think it's too complicated to try to look at over through the watch. So, but it's Bluetooth, so I do like that function to a degree because it allows me to set the alarm and the timer really fast and easy on here, and that's about it. The other stuff on there I'm just not a huge fan of. Now this has a step counter on here. It has a GPS function so you can see where you've been walking and how far you've been walking and at what pace and so on, which is great, which also means the strap you get is that fitness strap, which you get all of those extra holes on there, which when you look at some of these watches, let's get the GD350 out here, and you can see the difference. All right, the difference is there's way more holes on the GBX 100 than there is on the GD350. And look at that, I got a little crack. That's not a crack. That's actually just a line in the plastic here. I thought the plastic strap was cracked. It's not. It's just worn down and kind of polished by the buckle. But anyway, much more comfortable to wear. Okay, so to me, the GBX 100 is actually a really fun watch to wear. Plus its MIP display, 6 o'clock centered light. You've got all the G-Shock functions on here. As far as the timer go, I set it up for, I think I have this one set up at 5 minutes or 3 minutes. Those are my typical timers. And, you know, if I want it to go off again, let's say it's a 10-minute time thing, I'll just have it set 5 minutes, I'll hit it twice. If it's at 3 minutes, I'll go 3 times and know that I've got to wait a minute. So, you know, you can kind of work with that too if you're not real fond of the timer function. So I have that workaround on here. But you get, I don't know, stopwatch, there's your activity. Yeah, it is a smart watch to get notifications on all that if you want. I have them all turned off. So great little watch. Battery powered. If it was solar powered, I think that watch might be one of my top watches. It might actually outdo the GBDH 2000. So moving on, another Casio, and this is a legend, the 5610U. Okay. Great proportions, low profile, buttons suck because they're so small, but tough as nails, absolutely. Part of what makes this tough as nails is the low profile. It doesn't stick out. It doesn't catch on a lot of stuff. And so you're just not going to be beating this watch up nearly as much as you might say the W736, because look how much higher off the wrist the W736 is. Much taller off the wrist, okay? And so with that being the case, you're going to save some of the abuse on the 5610U. So, but this is legendary. This is their classic, you know, G-Shock from the 80s. You just can't beat this watch. Again, the strap, I wish they'd put the holes a little bit closer together on the strap, but they don't listen to me. I still keep buying them. Up next, the PRW 6600Y. Yes. Now, this is one of my favorite watches. I wear this when I go out hunting. I did a video real quick. I went out coyote hunting, calling, and I'll put that out there. and I was wearing this watch, and I love this watch. I love the Anti-Digi display. I love the analog display. This is a super easy analog display to look at. And you'll notice that the 12, the 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 sticks out a little bit more in the display. See that? It almost has that three-dimensional look when it comes to the numbers on the display. Yeah, I mean, it's just cool. It has all kinds of character. I love the orange second hand. You guys know this. I love a color on the orange second hand. It just makes it pop out. And the handset's easy to read. Now, the digital display is it's marginal. I would say I'm kind of bargaining with the devil on this one, because this one, I can read it, but it's not the easiest one to read when it comes to a negative display, especially analog digital. Now, this is the good size for this watch as far as the display goes. I wouldn't go any smaller than this. The Casio is absolutely terrible. You can't hardly read anything on there. But this one actually works pretty good. You can go through and pretty much see what everything is. And stopwatch, you get the full display. The zeros, a little bit small, but you get them all. And there's your timer. Alarm, and this is, again, this is not Bluetooth, so I mean, easy to set up. And there's your remote control center, or your time set. But this watch, you do a lot of the adjusting on the crown. You unscrew the crown, and you can move things back and forth with the crown, which is kind of nice, actually. Make sure it's screwed down for that waterproofness rating. 100 meters of water resistance, solar power. Don't have to worry about changing the battery on this one. Great looking watch. The CF factor on this one is low. This is a surprisingly comfortable watch to wear. You don't have a lot of stuff sticking up. And this is the, what is it, the mineral crystal? I forget what the color or the type of crystal this is. But this, the only time I've gotten anything on this watch was when I was welding. I got some of the slag on the crystal. And yeah, I'm not sure much of anything is going to withstand that molten metal. Otherwise, this crystal really, it's not been scratched or anything like that. It's in good condition. So tough as nails. Yeah, I've used this welding, lawn mowing, all that stuff. So these guys out here, these are all my Casios that I have worn for a variety of different reasons, including the negative display GD350, all right, which goes along with the positive display one over here. But these watches are fantastic watches when it comes to just toughness. You can't beat these Casio watches. All right, now what about some of the analog watches? There's the Baltany S5054, and this is a lookalike to the Hamilton chronograph. Screw-down crowns, 100 meters of water resistance. This is just a great overall watch. Quartz movement, and grab and go kind of a watch. I love it on this NATO strap. This NATO strap is awesome. This thing just looks cool. Sapphire crystal. It has never been scratched. And of course, you get the chronograph on here if you want. Easy watch to wear, lower profile. I wish it didn't. I'm going to probably get rid of the second. It's a double pass through. I think I might get rid of one of these and just make it a single pass through, because it just sits a little bit higher off the wrist because of the strap. It's not because of the watch itself. Easy to read. The loom on this watch is fantastic. This watch is also tough as nails. Now, one of the things I don't like about the nylon strap is when they get wet, they tend to like loosen up a little bit on the wrist. So the watch loosens up. And you'll see I have two holes on the strap that get used a lot. And there they are. Okay, these two holes right here. It's these two right here. These two holes I use almost all the time. And when it loosens up, then I tighten it up one more hole, and then until it dries out, and actually until it's off my wrist for a while, and then it will kind of go back to its original, I guess, diameter or length of the strap. And yeah, it's a great watch. I have worn this watch so many days doing lawn and landscape work. I do this chopping wood. It's a quartz movement. You can't hardly destroy a quartz movement, and it just is awesome. Another quartz movement is this Baltany. This is the field watch, under $60. This might be one of the best field watches under $60 that you can buy. And you'll notice it's a Mecha quartz movement. You get that, I think it's 3 ticks per second. So it doesn't have that 1 tick per second movement. You can kind of see it on the Baltany. Let me get the reflection just right here so you can see the secondhand tick. And you can see how it has 1 tick per second. Okay. And when you look at the Berny, did I say Baltany? This is a Berny. Awesome movement. Love it. Titanium case, extremely lightweight. I've been wearing this watch. It's low profile. The chunkiness factor is super low. which means it's not going to catch on things. Sapphire crystal, tough as nails. Gotta love that watch. All right, let's go with some mechanical watches. I forget what the number on this one is, but this is a San Martin, and this is a 300 meters water resistance. This is an Omega lookalike, and fantastic looking watch, great movement. It's a Seiko NH35 or NH34. Actually, this is NH38 because there's no date on here. I think this is an NH38 movement. Anyway, tough as nails, sapphire crystal, great finishing. I don't really wear this out there a lot because there's a lot of polish on here. And so as far as tough as nails go, it's a tough watch, but I like the polish on here, so I kind of baby this watch a little bit. Next up is the Borealis. This is the Sea Storm. I love this watch. This is my work watch. This is the watch I bought when I started the company because my colors for my company were green and black. And I just love this watch. This is also another 300 meter water resistant watch. It has a Seiko movement, tough as nails. You're not going to really damage this watch at all. Great bezel action. The adjustment clasp on here is one of those on-the-fly adjustment clasps so that you can move it up and down as your wrist changes in diameter throughout the day. Last but not least, the watch that I have the most requests to sell is the Zelos Hammerhead. I was wearing this today to work at school. I told the kids, I'm into watches. And like, oh, that's a cool looking watch. Bronze case, Seiko movement, sapphire crystal, 200 meters of water, or 300 meters of water resistance. So all three of these guys are 300 meters of water resistance, which means they can take a beating, okay? Bronze case, great little engraving on the back, embossed on the back. Great bezel action, but just a fantastic, fantastic tough watch. Full lume dial, glows in the dark like crazy. So there you go. Those are my watches that are tough as nails. Put in the comments what you think of that. I know there's a bunch of watches that are out there, but these are the ones that I like to pull up. If I'm going to go do something, I don't worry at all about what's going to happen to those watches. The Hammerhead is a collector watch, so I probably don't wear it as much as I'd like. Just because it's a collector watch, I don't want to abuse it too much. But it is tough as nails. The rest of these I wear at will when it comes to wearing them. So put in the comments what you think of that. Let me know, and appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you guys next time.